No, it's relevant because we are coming to a very expansive topic and Alo is here, so we can't joke around anymore. She wants me to bring in gravitas right away.
Then Alo, Gloria is here and she doesn't have those. There is no doubt about it. I mean, I've taken part in possibly more than 1,000 debates now. But this was the one with Ashutosh that went seriously viral. I mean, from the moment, and they were like having promos of this. कि आधे घंटे में देखिए क्या हुआ आशुतोष और आनंद के बीच क्या चल रहा है ये. Kind of triggered him, and then he absolutely went ballistic, and one thing led to another, and then I'm not one to kind of keep quiet, and I said 10 vote nahi mile isko. So I think that memory of the postal ballot counting and Ashutosh leading in that kind of triggered back. So anyway, I don't know how relevant it is to this conversation, but that's the story.
No, it's relevant because we are coming to a very expansive topic and Alo is here, so we can't joke around anymore. She wants me to bring in gravitas right away.
Then Alo, Gloria is here and she doesn't have those 15 minutes left.
Okay, but tell me, is this a problem of the TV format, TV debate format? Because one of the things I keep quoting from you, that line you said about spare the fundamentalist, snare the fundamentals. It's the other way around. It's one of the things I keep quoting because there's so much in those lines. But the way, because of TRP and the need to be constantly on top, do you think that's why the level of conversation around serious topics have gone down to this level?
There is no doubt about it. I mean, I've taken part in possibly more than 1,000 debates now. But this was the one with Ashutosh that went seriously viral. I mean, from the moment, and they were like having promos of this. कि आधे घंटे में देखिए क्या हुआ आशुतोष और आनंद के बीच क्या चल रहा है ये. So yeah, I mean, everyone loved the good fights. That's the title of a book also, if I'm not mistaken, or a film. Huh? Oh, Drought. That's right. Yes. And now I remember the guy who wrote it. So obviously, yeah. So look, I think there are massively. I would have thought earlier that there are disadvantages of this. The format is obviously conducive to a heated debate, more heat than light and whatever. But I think there are also advantages for people who want to take advantage of that. I've always been struck by the fact that it's a 1 hour debate, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. And yet I get only 2 minutes. I mean, at the face of it, it sounds ridiculous. Where are the other 58 minutes? Why can't they just give me, that is the genesis of that, give me 30 seconds, because, come on, I mean, give me at least 2.5 minutes out of 1 hour. But even that, you have to beg for it. Now, if you have to do that, then you try and change the whole, mechanics of the debate. You try and put forward your views within that capsule of 2 minutes. So you take it up as a challenge. And I took it up as a challenge. I'm not bragging or anything like that. But I think in those 2.5 minutes, if you prepare, you will have a sputtering of 4 or 5 facts. You'll have a punch line. You'll have a starting line, end line, few jokes thrown in, few barbs. It becomes a capsule. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of given birth to this, you can say a sub-format that is advantageous, because I think it's tailor-made for people who only have 2.5 minutes, So yeah, I would say generally it is disadvantageous because you want to hear the nuances of every issue, and 1 hour is an awfully long time, believe me. And every time I'm struck by the fact that 1 hour of the debate goes and you end up learning nothing, except those 2.5 minutes provided by me.
Is it then not just a problem with the TV format, but the problem of the times we live in, that we are trying to reduce everything to very easy binaries and definitions? Left, right, welfare, warfare, democracy, dictatorship. We just throw terms around, terms and phrases around, and my favorite, Bengali and Bohiragato. So, I mean, is it a problem of us as a people that we want easy explainers, we want immediate solutions?
Absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head, except that there are 2 points to it. One, because of this fast-paced world or news gathering or dissemination, you want people to come in packages. You want to pigeonhole people. So you already know, for example, or you've decided that this point of view is coming from Anand. Anand is a Sanghi, Anand is a BJP stooge or whatever he is, so let me be prepared. Let me already be on the defensive or on the offensive without listening to that point of view at all. And in a fast-paced world, you do that, and I think that many times people have found out, opposing panelists in a 1 hour long debate, they come up and they kind of shake hands, the opposing side, I didn't have anything to speak because you spoke my mind and I thought you were a Sanghi, So that happens. You want people to come in quanta or, packages. The second thing is, and that's very important, and that's human proclivity. If you have an agenda, if you are a bias, the one person you hate is the person who doesn't have an agenda and is not biased. So you're dying and itching to label that person. You're dying and itching to say, oh, I'm from the Congress, so you must be from the BJP. I have an agenda, you also must be having an agenda. I am, a left-winger, so obviously you must be belonging to another wing. That's to cover your embarrassment of belonging to or adhering to an ideology, a religion, anything. So the one person they absolutely hate is a scientist who doesn't have an agenda, who's not on the payroll, who speaks his mind, and who's an atheist. It's the worst combination that I carry. But it's also joyful because I can see it in their eyes, but they're going to label me.
But does it not lead to the topic of our conversation, poverty of thought? I was literally sitting at the back taking notes when Shamika ji was speaking. So many data points she referred to, but where is the space in popular conversation today for important conversations to take place? Because you're a serious guy, despite your relationship with Ashutosh. But what is the solution to this? Because surely I will come to the political arena a little bit later, but what is the solution as a people to this?
So I don't think there is a solution per se. I think we forget that, we throw in generalized barbs, you can say, or accusations is more appropriate. TV debate is rubbish. Nowadays books are terrible. Nowadays films are terrible. All through human history, 90-95% of the work that humans have churned out is utterly mediocre. It's not just this era. The fact is, you have to read that 5%, you have to watch that 5% of films, of debates, on anything. To give an example, if you're given, let's say, 10 hours to watch cricket, are you going to watch our Resident Welfare Association B block versus C block for the next 5 hours? You can do that and then feel disgusted. Say, this is a complete waste of time. Cricket nowadays is complete rubbish. Or you can watch Lakshman's 281 or Tendulkar's greatest innings or some great test match, Ian Botham or whatever it is. And you come back with a thing, oh my God, this is cricket. So it's a bit like that. You can either, if you're given 5 hours to read, media or books or something, you can either read the Hindu or Arundhati Roy's books, or and feel disgusted, or you can read our books. No, that was on a lighter vein, but this has always been there. So it's not a question of this is something new. It's not new at all.
So you're saying it's necessarily not a bad thing. I'm a student of literature, and I remember in literature masters, I think in master's class we were told that Shakespeare's play, when you critically analyze them, you'll see passages which had no business being there. But Shakespeare deliberately put them apparently because they were for the front seaters. They were hooked at those passages, but they were of very low literary value. So do you think that this is a time where we, all of us who are in the business of communication, whatever we are communicating, we need to learn the art of somehow grabbing eyeballs, attention, even if it's not, even if all of that does not have enough gravitas?
Pardon me, but we need to do just the opposite. Because grabbing the eyeballs is what has led to this. We need to stick to the definition of what a word means. I mean, you're talking of poverty of words, so I'll come to that. But before I do, because writing was not my profession to start with, it was a hobby and then it became a passion. So I've almost, and I've said this also, I've thanked a few writers and I've said there are more I'd like to thank, but I have run out of thumbs. So I've been an eklavya, I've kind of watched in admiration and read them and kind of imbibed their things. And one of the things that really struck with me as a writer who I knew I would never earn through my writing, so was that Barthes, the famous French writer. He said something so profound and I've never been able to forget it for like 15-20 years. He said the birth of the reader is the death of the writer. The day you start writing for the reader, the day you start writing your words that this will appeal to this community, let me not write this, this community might get angry, or let me add this, this is, I've written about Ayyars, now what about Iyengars, now I'm just giving you an example. That is the death of you. That means you're not writing for yourself, for the love of writing, you're writing for others. So if you're trying to catch eyeballs, it's precisely that. So I think, without being patronizing, you're not in that block at all, but I'm trying to say journalists as people should not be doing that at all. But then somebody will come back and say, well, what's the revenue model then? It is eyeballs. Yes, fair enough. But the fact of the matter is, to give you 3 or 4 examples, poverty of words, we, unabashedly proclaim ourselves as a secular republic. And for the last 10 years, I've been crying hoarse on the rooftops, we are not secular. What is the definition of secularism? It means a complete separation of church and state. Why are we calling ourselves secular when we give Hajj subsidies, when we control temples, when we give salaries to Maulvis, when we have iftar parties, when we, that's not what a secular state does. Call us by any other definition. We are plural, you can say. We kind of spend taxpayers' money on religions. Kartarpur corridor, Kashi, whatever the thing is. But we are not secular. I have not heard a single politician accept this. I have not heard a single media personality accept this. It's somehow as if the word plural is an insult. So let's not call India plural. What's wrong with calling India plural? But you must adhere to something that you're not. Because somehow secularism is that panacea that every nation must aspire to, so we're seeking validation of the West. Or France, for example, I don't know, they're proudly secular, whatever you may call it. So that's the first definition. The poverty of usage of words is taking precedence over the poverty of word itself. When you're not secular, why are you calling yourself secular? And it kind of builds up on that, because when you don't clarify, then the problems come. For example, give me the definition of who a right-winger is. It's very difficult. Economically, yes, there is a right-wing economic, sensible economists are all right-wing economists and the absolute nutters are left-wingers. So yes, you can pigeonhole them. I hear a very famous economist at the back, who shall remain nameless, giggling. But what else? Will you say, if you are a proud Hindu, you're right-winger? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you are from the RSS, are you right-winger? Absolutely not. Economically, this government is more left-wing than, possibly even Congress. So what's the definition of an Indian right-winger? Is Hinduism being conservative? No. Is the antithesis of being conservative. Conservatism to me is the juice that you churn out of social Darwinism. It's being exclusivist, it's being supremacist. It's saying we're not going to have a debate because what I say is true, it's othering the other person. Hinduism is the antithesis of that. So then again I ask you, are all of us, majority of us right-wingers? No one's right to, people just, some of them proudly accept that badge. I accept it out of defeat. I don't have energy to say, no, I'm not this, I'm not that. You call me whatever you want. But it's not true. What is hate speech? I mean, and we're having this, Shiv and I are going to have this debate, tonight about this terrible catastrophe of Tirupati Laddu, laced with beef fat. And I wrote a couple of days ago and I spoke about this. I said, had Halim being served at a iftar party laced with, lard, this nation would have witnessed a civil war. And so many Muslims took offense to that कि ये Islam को क्यों ले आया बीच में? It's not a question of bringing Islam in, it's a question of stating a fact. When you had large-scale riots, when Kanpur erupted just because a lady quoted Islamic scriptures, when you had 10 people beheaded just because they did not quote any Islamic scriptures, they actually said, we support Nupur. So yeah, civil war is a distinct possibility if you do this. You remember what happened to Hazratbal Mosque when the alleged thing happened? The whole state was in flames.
Bangladesh also.
Bangladesh also, yes.